Hey everyone, Jeff Pio, Director of Customer Support here with Farmobile. I'm here with Cannon Gammill. Definitely not a new face to Farmobile, but actually he's going to be working on a new role here with us as he is continuing to develop his career into the product side of our teams. As we continue into spring and as we're continuing to having an opportunity to re-engage with our customers, one of the big things that we often do is making sure that their devices are ready to go. And I think whenever we were kind of talking about this as far as communicating out to our growers and out to our trusted advisors who work directly with our customers, we started having a lot of stories that just continue to come up of like devices that have come back that have not been in a tip-top shape and kind of a little bit on the rough side anyways, and so I think we're just going to go through a couple of stories here. But Cannon, what's one of your most memorable stories of what you've seen come back?
Yeah, so when it comes from memorable stories, I can always think back to one of my first new seasons here, would have been the fall of 17, and so the device itself stands for passive uplink connection, which obviously I think we know that to this point, but the passive nature of that kind of makes people think like they're not always thinking about it, right? And so, you get to the end of the planting season or whatever, and it's been a grind, and you start taking everything out of the tractor cab and getting stuff cleaned up. Well, one of the things that's always in there is our puck, and so come down to it and get, everybody's digging through a pile of stuff and looking through things at the end of the year, and it probably gets put in a box and set on the shelf for the summer. Well, there's, not the farmer activity happening, and start digging stuff out by the end of the year and start trying to plug stuff in, and one of the first things we ran into actually was a cable that had gotten pinched in the box of things, and it shorted out. And so whenever they tried to plug the puck in, obviously the puck wasn't working because the cable got cut, and so it was a pretty interesting experience you see of stuff that just came out, of oh, this is passive, and it's always this mad dash at the beginning of harvest to get stuff back installed. So I would say that was one of the first ones that I got to myself to kind of troubleshoot back then. Just kind of what was going on, because like, hey, I got all my stuff plugged in and my connections are secure, like what's going on? And at that point it's like, okay, now what's outside of the realm of normality? And you start seeing stuff like, physical cable damage is always something that we want to try to inspect, whether it be the puck or the cable or the antenna. Kind of one of the obvious ones we want to look at is the physical damage side of the hardware itself, because at the end of the day, hardware is hardware, and regardless of how hard you try to make, it's not always indestructible.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking about one of my first stories as well too, to kind of come on top of that, is that I was working with a grower who we're disconnecting the device to move it from his harvest rig into his planting rig, and after he had done that, it wouldn't fire up like it did before, and what does every good farmer have on him? A good set of pliers. Well, he couldn't get his fingers in there, so he wrenched it off with the pliers, except for he took it a little bit too hard.
Thinking back to last summer, actually, of two of what the pucks were in planter tractors, two of which were in the sprayers, and the sprayers were actually running in very similar geographies, and it was a challenging cell environment. And I remember I got a call, hey, I just got these new pucks, and I got one of them that's not working. All right, well, can we get a hold of the operator and see what's going on? He's like, well, they're far enough away that I can't get a hold of them on the business band radio, and the operator, I tried calling him, but he's not answering his phone. Well, they swore up and down that they were having a puck problem. I'm like, well, I need to figure out what's going on in the cab for me to be able to help troubleshoot this. So next day rolls around, sprayers get back late that night, and grower goes out and takes a look at the his reseller goes out actually and takes a look at the pucks themselves, and the term passive connection, he had hired labor in there. He wanted to try to stash the puck away so it's out of sight, out of mind. And apparently the sprayer operator took a road ditch pretty quick and kind of shuffled everything around the cab, and the puck itself actually managed to get slid underneath the seat, and whenever it did that, the air ride on the seat came down and actually broke both of the cellular connectors off of the puck itself.
Got it, yeah.
And so obviously at that point it's not tied to the antenna, and so we can't necessarily get a reliable cell reception. The lucky thing was the GPS connector was still attached, so we still had all the data. It was stored locally on the puck, and we could recover it. But it's just one of those things that it always gives you something to go back and troubleshoot, and the assumption that the hardware is always going to be set up just right is can't always be made. And so it's the first thing we always try to check. I know it seems redundant in any tech support that anybody ever calls is have you tried turning it off and back on again? I know people don't want to hear it, but sometimes that more often than not it seems like that's the real problem.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Very good. Well, hey, Cannon, thank you again, and congratulations on your new role here within Farmobile, and excited to see what you're going to be pumping out here with the team here. So, again, Jeff Pio, Farmobile, 844-337-2255. If you guys have any questions regarding your hardware or your Farmobile data engine account, here to help you out and get you guys going this spring. Thank you.